Bene, buonasera a tutti. Si sente? Si sente? Sto guardando la regia. Vado? Perfetto. Buonasera a tutti. Innanzitutto ci tenevo a ringraziare Mido per l'invito.
So thank you to Mido for this incredible organization, for inviting Villa Costa Curta, that is one of my idols, and for choosing us as a partner to explain to you the eyewear scenario. I am Daniele Novello. I am responsible in charge for Italy for the Insight. And you've probably understood that I'm going to talk about the perspective of consumers. We interviewed many consumers, 4,000 consumers in Italy, France, Germany, and United States, 1,000 per country. And we asked to them questions in order to rebuild their buying process. So we asked where they collected the piece of information about the drivers for buying, where they bought the eyewear, and the perceptions about the brands. And of course, we're going to share all these data with all the analyses, much more than what we're going to see today. And we are going to explain to you comparisons among these four countries. Also, we're going to talk about the trends because today we are going to explain to you changes compared to the last complete editions that we organized for Mido in 2019. So we can really do a proper comparison with before and after the pandemic. Let's start before explaining to you what we read in the eyewear scenario. I just want to introduce to you a few analyses that we have done to rebuild, let's say, the general context, the general scenario, to create a frame in order to give a meaning to the results that we gathered in the eyewear world. So in the first part, I'm not going to talk about KPI or indicators about the eyewear. But you will see that this general frame is important to understand and rebuild and reconstruct the meaning of a few movements. Let's start. Well, in this case, those are data coming from the International Monetary Fund, and other data that we're going to share are our own data from NIQ, GFK. Those are data about the prices, and of course it's something quite obvious. In order to understand this scenario, it's important to start from prices, because you probably know that prices really increased hugely after the Ukraine conflict, and also before. We had a few inflation because of the increase of the cost of raw materials, but let's say that the conflict in Ukraine really made the prices increase hugely. That was in 2022. The data are comparing 2022 and 2023. So 2023 is already critical. Well, prices are very important in really understanding this scenario of consumers. The most evident one is that the higher the prices, lower is the acquiring power of consumers. But there is also another psychological element. So the perceived inflation, as we see the movement of prices, has a huge impact, also psychological impact, on the sentiment of the consumers. And it's very important. We'll see that later on. So as you can see, for the 6 countries, well, we can see that a similar dynamic. So 2024 was really showing a decrease in prices, and it's a very important data. And then we have a second data linked to consumption. So if the prices are going down, consumers are increasing. I mean, it's not true that prices are decreasing. They're not really increasing. Well, in reality, the situation is slightly different, because as you can see, apart from we should really explain the situation of United States apart from the situation in Europe, because I mean, in Europe, the situation is slightly different. It's really a two-phase situation. In general, the impulse of the inflation did not have, well, was not really evident in data. It was really a missing an opportunity in 2024. So on one side, it's true that we really need to keep on saving. And so they did, many people really did have to start saving again, but also the psychological impact is really important, because consumptions are linked to the motivation. And in this phase we expected,
Italia un monitoraggio da 25 anni in cui ogni
well, in the last 25 years, after every 3 months, we read all these indicators, the sentiment. We have very important historical data, and we have understood that when there is a favorable price dynamic perceived by consumers, they spend. Also psychological spending. They are willing to explore, to listen to brands, to find new products, and this happens normally when there is a change in the perceived inflation. So if the prices are not going up, the consumers are saying, I just want to buy what the brands want to sell. Well, in this case, the situation is not really as we expected. So the advantages have a 20-year-old trends is that you can really understand what is happening also when you expect something to happen and it doesn't really happen. We were expecting to have an increase of consumption, but the sentiment remained really blocked. In Italy, did not improve, so the consumers are really living in the present, while normally a positive sentiment makes the consumer more proactive. Well, now we have consumers that need really to forget about the pandemic and the Ukraine conflicts. So we really need to relax. We really need to entertain ourselves. I would like to buy more, but most of the time, many people, they want something, but at the end they just buy what they need. So there is this clash between this willingness to distress and also, on the other side, our own needs. And it's not really positive news. An increase in sentiment should really foster the increase of consumptions. This is a research called the Consumer Line. I think it's the biggest, the widest research on earth on trend and lifestyle. We selected just data for the 4 countries we have been studying: Italy, France, Germany, and USA. As you can see, these are aggregated data, and you can see it's quite visible, this impulse to explore. I remember the last time we were here in 2022-23, I don't remember, we did focus on the digital world and the online buying of glasses, and I was talking about this consumer that we called rethink consumer, projected to the future. And as you can see now, the consumer is totally different, very down to earth, no nonsense. So novelties are not so important. It's more difficult to manipulate these consumers.
Domande che abbiamo fatto ad hoc per questo evento, quindi per Mido.
We made a number of questions for Mido, for the eyewear industry, and they are completely in line with what I showed you earlier. That is questions made for another assessment. One of the questions was what are the aspects that can impact your selection of eyeglasses, and we discovered a drop by 10-15 points because consumers tend to buy the most fashionable glasses generally, but it's no longer so, especially in Italy, minus 20%. So we, when we interviewed Italians in 2019 and then in 2025, we noticed that difference. This is an emerging and significant trend. So I would like to move on to other aspects with this table that summarizes what I just said. In the research called Consumer's Life, we have identified 9 key trends all over the world: experience, awareness, discerning consumption, well-being, seeking safety, the sense of belonging. These are trends that we have observed in our surveys. You see data figures concerning the 4 countries we have examined. So you can see what the answers by people who were surveyed are. So there is the trend of experience that plays a major role. Experience is not only connected with the world of consumption, because sometimes it refers to people who sometimes prefer to do things than to buy things. So it can be explained as the desire for people to evade, from their everyday life, to find something funny. And so to leave difficulties behind. Another trend that has been described by the people surveyed is awareness. This trend summarizes what is said earlier. People are more aware of what they wanted to buy. They are more discerning, and it is quite challenging to deal with these consumers. Fortunately, I'm not here to give you only figures or to give you information that is not 100% positive. So after the table I just showed, I will talk about a different topic that provides a more positive view. So to conclude about the in-the-know consumers, we have found out that consumers are looking for value for money. Value for money is the key word. We have a list encompassing 30 items. We used it to see what the respondents said. The first in the list is that consumers are looking for value for money. This is their number one wish. Value for money doesn't necessarily mean the best price. And especially in eyewear, this is something that you know. And what about the purchase journey in the eyewear industry? Let's start from these figures. positive figures clearly. So consumers are buying more often. They are more discerning, they are more demanding, they are in the know, they are not influenced by the latest product, and they buy glasses more often than in the past. And you can see that this can be applied to all the four markets we have surveyed. And this refers both to glasses and sunglasses. This is a crucial figure. The second figure refers to one of the most important KPIs, that is your purchase drivers. We cannot comment on all of them. So sunglasses and glasses only show slight differences. So the quality of lenses is the number one factor. The design, the weight of the frame, materials glasses are made of. And also, as I said, the look. The price is important, but is not first in the list, quite the opposite. So the importance of price is declining, and this is significant, especially if we consider what I said in the beginning of my presentation. So glasses have a very strong reason why, because discerning consumers buy glasses more often. They do not necessarily buy the latest, the most fashionable glasses. They must have a good look, but they must last in time. Generally speaking, I do not want to go too much into details of all individual markets, but the basic topic is that consumers who do not focus on fashion buy quality glasses because they're going to last for quite some time. And this is an important driver, and there are many other drivers to be considered. For instance, the advisory service of salespeople, and a number of drivers that basically have been confirmed also this year, where the glasses were manufactured, the brand, etc. And then the latest product trends, you see the list of drivers, but the message to take home is that quality is top of the list. Price is important, but not so important as quality. This is one of the tables that highlights the scenario we have analyzed. Touch points for the consumer's journey. Physical retail shops are important as they were in the past. Traditional media, advertising activities, the word of mouth, advice, recommendations. So all have been confirmed, but the number one touch point is digital. Digital platforms are very important. And you can see the increase as compared to 2019. So plus 20% on sunglasses, on glasses, and then a very high percentage also on sunglasses. So Italy is not growing so much as other countries, unlike what happened in 2019, digitalization is not so widespread in Italy as in other countries. So consumers are close to the eyewear world, and we collected the information to better understand, or people collect information to better understand the brand, for instance. So also the collection of information for a consumer who loves glasses is an important step in the journey. Italians related to the eyewear sector, but they are not so digital as in consumers in other countries. And we will see also what happens in the next tables. Then there was also an increase in terms of collecting information by consumers. But clearly, the percentage is quite significant, plus 15%, plus 20%. And this percentage, of course, has an impact also on quantity, not only on quality. So, what happens after information has been collected? And you see here how digital is used by all generations. So people over 55 collected info also online. Clearly, this is quite significant. So this confirms the importance of a digital platform in collecting information. 16% have recently seen a celebrity wearing glasses, be they singers or actors or influencers. So this is true more for males than for females shoppers. So, who are the celebrities wearing sunglasses or glasses you would like to buy? So you see in France, in Germany, we have influencers ranking first. They are ranking third in Italy, and we know very well why. But influencers are quite significant. Then there is an exception to the rule. In France, sports champions are ranking third, but probably also because of the recent Olympic Games. What is important for us is just the digital collection of information, that is tactical information and price comparison, is influenced also by celebrities. So we have seen it in thousands of surveys and interviews. So, this figure confirms the importance of the digital world in collecting information. When we buy sunglasses, we tend to buy them in physical stores. The percentage of Italians buying sunglasses online has increased. In Europe, it has experienced a slight drop. So digitalization on one hand, but on the other hand, we see that people tend to go to physical stores. But generally speaking, this is a surprising figure. We see figures every day. We see that these percentages refer to other product categories. I do not want to comment this slide, but Here you see sales figures concerning consumer electronics, and this product category generally is thought to be best sold online. So the increase has not been that significant. But this is not true for the eyewear. So our physical stores manage to meet the consumer's requirements. So we have also to consider this aspect. In our survey, we also checked or monitored the different channels, and we haven't indicated all the channels. We have all the percentages we have found out. So we just wanted to give you a few hints for the second part of the presentation concerning the specific aspects of each market, of each country, because as you know, there are countries like Italy where major buyers, major channels are important, but we also have experts, and in France and in Germany it is a different situation. We have a strong digital component in some countries, 9% Amazon for sunglasses, 5% the producer's website. And then there is an additional component of major chains. And then we have also to include department stores. As you see, this distribution overview differs from one country to the next based on the specific features of each country. So here you see some aggregate figures, and we have 4 different countries explaining why people buy online. Reason number 1, because of a cheaper price. We considered a trend that emerged in the past, expectations by consumers of an added value online, which was not only a cheaper price, but also was connected with other features, experience, etc. But so there are also people who prefer to buy online because they receive the goods directly at home. So we made a comparison only with European countries. We had this question. We asked this question in 2022. We did not make any survey concerning the United States back then. So online purchase highlights the importance of a cheaper price. Let's see that online generally is the best solution to pay less. This is an important aspect to consider. So now let's see what are the specific features of each country. You will see all of them in this slide. Let's have an overview so that we can understand right away what are the peculiar features of each of them. Peer-owned, how often we purchase them. The United States are something apart. So people tend to buy more often. People have more glasses. So the market is more dynamic in the United States. Italy, particularly for sunglasses, is in between the United States and Europe. So this confirms a love affair with the sunglasses. And then we have France and Germany. Germany has a specific feature. They have glasses, but they buy them less often. So they want reliable, top quality glasses. They're not interested in the latest trend glasses. So you can see it clearly from this table. Then if we talk about price, we see that there are additional differences. In the United States, they buy a lot of glasses very often and they pay them less, whereas the price in Italy is higher than in other countries. The last KPI I wanted to show refers to something else. That is the lifestyle aspect that is strictly connected with quality. So I'm very discerning. I like to look good, have a wonderful pair of glasses. Of course, Italians probably consider this aspect more than other countries. So let's analyze the market opportunities and the consumer trends in Italy. Why are we staying at a standstill? Well, people sometimes say, I have to buy new shoes, a new bag, new glasses every year. But it's no longer so now as compared to the past. So this means that we are at a standstill, as I said. But anyway, Italians still love eyewear, plus 10% as compared to other countries. So the figures that I indicated before also include Italy, of course. So Italians, as I said, like to look good, and glasses are a way and a mean to look better. So drivers, you have seen the drivers already, but here in this table, in light gray, you see the total of countries, and then the other line indicates the different countries, primarily Italy, in the right-hand side of the slide. And you see the specific features of the country. But so people focus more on the made in and on the brand.
Prodotto degli altri paesi che abbiamo.
And this refers both to glasses and sunglasses. They're less interested in ADV in a store. Because they are not so much interested in ADV. Well, sunglasses are particularly cherished by Italians, and price is very important. Well, you told us earlier that price was not that important. Well, it is not always so. We have to consider the benchmark people So the question of price is particularly significant in Italy. So as a brand, when we work on the Italian market, we have to motivate consumers. Consumers having what we call a sad passion, requirements that are not met, for instance, or are not fully understood. So we want their wishes to become reality. You see the different faces, young boys and girls. So what I'm saying now refers to all countries. So there are some things that are very interesting. Women are more interested in price, in the quality, whereas men are more interested in brand and advice from friends or ADV. So we have to consider that these differences are quite significant for our survey. And then what we found in Italy was also analyzed in other countries. Drivers for the choice and the glass design. When we talk about material, about frame, mixed frames are becoming increasingly important. So there is a trend, the trend for mixed materials is on the rise. In all the countries we have analyzed. There is the same trade-off, that is less metal, less plastic altogether. And this is true for all the countries. More cat eyes. In all countries, a relative increase so less rounded and less aviator glasses as compared to cat eyes. And then frame. In Italy differs from all other countries. More full frames and less rimless. So this is a snapshot of the Italian market. And this applies to all countries. What about France? In the trends I indicated, like sustainability, for instance, awareness, when in France customization is the number one feature. You must read my lips. You must know exactly what I want. So they are very demanding consumers. They want to be rewarded, cocooned, so to speak, as compared to other countries. And material and craftsmanship are more important for French people than in other countries. So they prefer to go to a physical store, also for the service they receive.
Then, in the other countries, they have sustainability as the key trend. You really need to understand this trend, because when we declare that we are sustainable, we really need to understand how this statement really has consequences. But I mean, in France, sustainability is not so important. That of having a very sustainable brand is not so paramount. And then drivers, very important, advisors, staff, and also the experience in store is more important in France. They are less digitalized, and we have seen that being really cocoon, just having, I don't know, a little chocolate when I buy glasses, having a little bit of savoir-faire, if you will, is very appreciated in France. Less relevant is the brand believed, let's say, being in line with the values of the brand. And we have already talked about this difference in gender. So what about the design trends? Because some of them are quite similar to Italy. Cat eyes, more present compared to rounded and aviator for the sunglasses. More mixed frames and less plastic frames. As you can see, there are less differences between prescription glasses and sunglasses. They're more in line, let's say, these trends. And then, well, in Italy, and similarly, the situation is different, and similarly to other countries, more rimless and less full frames for France. Let's move to Germany. Well, we've just finished a study in a different sector in the media to read the media needs of German consumers and comparing them with the Italian needs. And the snapshot is really a cliche. We are more passionate, more emotional. We want these emotional contents. They are more, let's say, colder. They want more services. Really two cliches, the typical cliches of the two countries. And here we can see the same data in line with what we are saying. So, as I was saying, I mean, being sustainable is very different than saying that you are sustainable. I do not know if around the world, but in Europe, in Italy, we say that I feel guilty when I'm not sustainable. But they do not doing something for being sustainable. There is this huge gap between, doing something and saying that you are sustainable. And if you're proposing yourself as someone helping you to be good and sustainable, can be really a good point, a good alliance with your consumers, because consumers are trying to find alliances and they're not finding them. They're not finding them. So consumers are feeling abandoned and very lonely. Well, in Germany, there's a saying that they feel guilty. Well, they feel guilty, but they do more than the others for sustainability. And they do not love shopping, let's say. They do not follow trends. They want to have something trustworthy, long-lasting products. They do not need a lot of time to gather piece of information. And because they do not like shopping, they do not like to go around there just gathering information. They are just down to earth and no nonsense, and they want to choose glasses, high quality glasses, long lasting glasses. Having said that, German consumers compared to Italian consumers, they have half of the half of them say that glasses, they are useful to stand out. So it's not really important to them. Two different words compared to Italy, where glasses are important to look good. Well, if you analyze buying drivers, as you can see, the situation is the contrary compared to Italy. For trends, very briefly, the mixed frames, they're more present than metal and plastic. Like in Italy, cat eyes, more than squared and aviator shapes. Like in Italy, we've said that before, and full frames is really losing compared to rimless and half frames. This is a peculiarity in Germany, something that we're not seeing in Italy nor in United States. Last country, and we are closing our presentation, United States. Well, in the United States, advertisement is very important. They pay more attention to ADV. They're more digital in United States. And for them, it's very important to have a fast and easy delivery. They're very pragmatic in the United States. So the outcome is really paramount. For them, it's very important. And also, they love glasses and eyewear. They buy a lot. They cost less, but they buy more. Well, in Italy, we feel that eyeglasses make us look good. In America, eyeglasses, they help us look confident. So you really need to be a winning person, very confident, and to have the right pair of glasses is very useful to feel straight to the point, just no nonsense, more pragmatic. So it's very specific for America, this concept. For drivers, we can say that the suggestion in stores is not so important because, as you can see, we have the ADV in a specific corner is very important, much more than a suggestion in store. So the ADV in general is performing more in United States compared to Europe. And brands are really, they say the latest trends are also very, very important. And of course, because they buy glasses more often, maybe they buy something more original, let's say. For buying trends, we have already said that more or less we have the same situation compared to Europe. Well, as you can see, the difference between prescription glasses and sunglasses are not so evident. So what about the future? So in case you wanted to buy glasses now, of course, we're not forecasting anything as market trends. Is just a question we just asked, do you or would you like to buy glasses? So no forecast whatsoever here. In any case, we can get important insights. So of course, as you can see, those are the same differences among the various countries. Well, in general, we want to buy glasses in the future. We increase the frequency and we want to buy more. So once again, those are positive news. And then we've done an analysis. It's not really complex, but just a couple of things to explain to you what a concentration index is. The concentration index is the following, so bear with me a little bit more. So I'm asking how many people want to buy tomorrow something and how many people are buying today. If the percentage is the same, is 100%. 100 means that phenomenon is going to remain stable. Underneath 100, the phenomenon is decreasing, and more than 100, the phenomenon is increasing. The e-shopping is increasing in our forecast, mainly for prescription glasses. In this case, the weighted acceleration is higher. So, but once again, those are not precise forecasts. We really need to interpret these data. You need to remember that in these markets, the online market is really losing percentages. So those people bought less in the past. And in the optical sector, sometimes these clients, they do not buy a lot. So there is an opening toward the online market, but we will see what the future will hold. So maybe our brick and mortar shops were very good in the past because there is an opening, there is no barrier toward online.
Io poi non lo posso vedere, no?
It's not that we do not want to buy online, there is no closing, no barrier, but at the end of the day, let's say that brick and mortar shops were able to interpret the needs and wishes of the clients. Was something different on materials. As you can see, the mix is really following the same growing trend. All the markets are saying that this trend is going to grow also in the future. It's going to be a future trend. And this is the end of my speech, and I conclude underlying the main points that we've shared. First of all, we are living a challenging scenario. We talk about the sentiment, and consumers have needs in standby. They would like to buy what they like, but they need to buy what they need. well, the eyewear is really resilient in this context. The eyewear was able to gain the interest of these consumers. Passive, well, value for money is really at the center. It's not the entry price. It's nice material, nice touch, very light material, durable. We're talking about this way of collecting information, piece of information, normally through digital challenge. So it's more digital, but not less physical. So it's more articulate, let's say. But for sure, digital is really the protagonist in gathering piece of information. That means that consumers are different when they enter into a shop. They're not just saying, I just want this and that. They do have information or gathered information in advance. And you lose less time in a certain sense because consumers are more, let's say, prepared. And something that I perceive when I'm in a shop, it's like the consumers are shy to talk about the online market. It's like talking about the lover in the cuckold house, let's say. It's like the person that you're talking to in the eyewear shop does not know nothing about Amazon. So why do our customers buy in the brick-and-mortar shops? So consumers, they need allies. And if we can suggest to the consumers that we are trustworthy, that we are transparent, that, I mean, Amazon is really wonderful. So you can talk about Amazon in your shop. Well, if you are trustworthy, consumers are going to buy in your brick-and-mortar shop, and this is an important factor. And then we conclude, I bore myself to death when I talk about this uncertain future, because, I mean, the future is uncertain, nothing we can say about that. 1 year ago, in doing a research on e-car, we gathered these, or we found this enthusiasm for masks, for coming from these radical sheiks, these ideas of environmental sensitivity. They were really in love with masks, this visionary man, more than the car itself. And now is really the fan of the drill. So. And from that, the custom duties. So future, I have to say, is uncertain. But we do have, let's say, positive breaks or building blocks for our future. So we bought glasses more frequently, and we want to buy more glasses. And I conclude saying that what do brands have to do? First of all, on one side, they really need to read the lips of consumers and to understand what consumers did and are doing. They need to be able to match with their offer the need and the demand of the consumers. The consumers they want value for money, they want performance, they want something very simple. We talk about that. And we always say that this is even more important when we have a very, let's say, passive consumer that doesn't really want to buy something. Of course, we cannot just do a very vertical and wide research into continents. You really need to pay attention to your own target market, but it's important to understand the nuances, the attitudes of the consumers. It was important in the past, it's more important now. And then there is another aspect that is very much linked to what we said about understanding this sad consumer, not very energetic, in Italy more than elsewhere, but there is this huge gap between desire or wishes and needs. And needs are more important in this case. Of course, the brands can really talk about value for money and pragmatism, but brands, they really need to work on this logic, the enzyme or catalytic accelerator environment. Sometimes you cannot really work like this, but if you can, you really just need motivation. I just want to underline, there is a margin for brands to distribute more and to increase and improve the narrative in order to help consumers to buy more. Thank you.
Non so se qualcuno ha la forza o l'interesse a fare domande.
Well, in case you have questions, I'm here for you. Well, I know that I've talked for almost an hour, so you must be exhausted. Thank you so much.